All right, we're gonna blow that up just a little bit so I can see it. Okay, so there's this thread. I saw this thread about... Yeah. Smile. Yeah, I saw this thread for the difficulty of normal content. If you guys did not know, most of the people in this chat know. If the new raid tier, the new normals dropped yesterday, and they were fun. The normals were really fun. The difficulty was nice and spicy. It was very nice, and I'm excited for Savage. But there are certain players who are very upset with the difficulty of them. Clearly, this thread that is 11 pages long. I gotta go piss, girl. Go piss then. Then go piss. Oh God, the nonsense of this thread. Yes. So we're gonna read the thread. I wanted to wait to see how I wanted to see the raid tier before I say anything. But I've already posted about the dungeon and trial difficulty, and now the normal should be thrown into discussion as well. I might repeat points that I've already said, but I think we should really make a point of this. We, the people not okay with this difficulty, need for the devs to hear us and hopefully make a course correction. The problem with the difficulty on normal fights, as I see it is use and abuse of non-standard telegraphs, nasty mechanic overlaps, stuff you would see on extreme and harder fights, mechanics resolving too quickly for the mental capability they demand to process. One too many catch this mechanics, mechs that you have to run around headless like a headless chicken, evading seemingly random patterns. All this has been making fights in this expansion frustrated and exhausting. The honeybee fight had me wishing for a healer not to raise me. I was there in the fight, dead for the 9th time, thinking that I don't really want to be don't really want to be on that duty. And it's not an issue of learning the fight, because that I can do. We don't do this content alone, you know. I think it was the 4th time I was doing one of the fights when I finally finished it without dying myself. But that's a moot point. When half of the party was dead half of the time. Even knowing the fight doesn't make it any less of a disheartening experience. Yes, this concerns the normal raids. This concerns the normal raids. Even if they are not, even if they're optimal content. In fact, I am going to take this. I'm going to take the skip option for this raid tier. Something I have not done since playing in Stormblood, and that is not the. That's the point, really. For the most part, in my past 3 expansions, difficulty for normal content was fair outside of some hiccups here and there. I firmly believe that content meant to be done via Duty Finder, where you don't choose who you play with, should not be at this level of punishing. And I know JP people do Savage and Duty Finder, but we do not do that in NA or EU. For better or worse, Western players do not behave like JP players. Finally, I think that people that thrive with the difficulty, the ones who demand harder content, already have extreme Savage ultimate Criterion engines, and more. Yoshi P is even tooting a Savage alliance. This is I know they probably said these people are eating really, really good. Grammar error. Do they really need to take normal content too? Can casual players have something easiest to play, please? Well, I'm gonna say for one, the normal difficulties for these normal difficulties for the normals are not that hard. I did Duty Finder yesterday. Hardly anyone died. New people who came into that fight were perfectly fine. No one really died. Like, people died for their first time, but it was not miserable. So this just seems like they don't really do content on patch, and they feel like everything is just too difficult for them to actually do, which I get to a certain extent, but Yoshi P even said himself that he was upping the difficulty just a little bit. Yeah, just give me my items now. Like, I just want to be able to coast through and do nothing. It doesn't make sense for this mentality. It's normal content. It is between, it's like the bottom tier of Savage. So if you don't want to do the normal raids, then don't do the normal raids. You have extremes, but they're complaining about the extreme difficulty, which makes no sense. The extremes are easy. Every single extreme on content is gonna be tough because you need to be at a certain item level to do it. Same thing with the normals. You know, whenever I'm getting 90 normal raids in roulette now, and I'm like, oh god, I actually have to hit my buttons. That's my thought process. I'm like, oh, this is expansion behind. I have to hit my buttons. Like, there's no way in between it. So it doesn't make sense why. So you want to dumb down the game, but here's what's gonna happen. They're gonna ask to dumb down the game, and then they're gonna complain about it being too easy, and then ask to bump up the difficulty. And then they're gonna complain. Like, it's always gonna be complaining, like, oh, this is too easy. Oh my god, the normal raids are too hard. The extremes are too hard. That is a revolving person. That's a revolving fight. And it's just, you're beating a dead horse because you're asking for higher difficulty content. You get it. And then now now you don't want it. So you want to go back, dumbing it down. The mechanics in the normal raids weren't even that bad. They were actually pretty nice. It gave a nice taste of what Savage is going to be. I thought they were really easy. I thought, like, the knockback telegraph gives you it's basically a minute for the first fight. The second fight, yeah, you have to dodge the hearts on the ground, but in one of the expert dungeons in the carnival, in the last area that you unlock, you have to dodge the dolls. It's no different than that. So you're complaining about that mechanic. It means that you don't want to do expert because you have to dodge and have awareness of where you're going in order not to die. That makes no sense to me. Well, let's continue. Let's see what this thread has to offer. Normal raids have always been the bridging between content, between true casual content and extremes. That's why it's optional. Good take. Normal raids are designed to be tuned about as hard as the devs are willing to make content for a full pick-me-up group and not an actual strat discussion. Endwalker was an outliner here, and besides P3, the rest of them were over-glorified trials rather than actual normal raids. Base take. Actual base take. Okay, here we go. I feel you. You have a vocal minority. Oh my god. You have a vocal minority to blame for this situation. It's the people that somehow don't play Savage but complain over and over that normal content is too easy. Now here we are. I think I saw somewhere someone dubbing the group the hardcore casuals. Yes, I agree, but you do agree that normal raids are casual, right? Normal raids are casual, but those if you can clear a normal raid out in one lockout, if you can clear a normal raid out in one lockout, it's nowhere near the difficulty as an extreme. On content extreme. No way how. Not by a minute. If you think that this is harder than extreme, extreme took people at least 1 or 2 lockouts to learn. Some people got lucky. Some people were able to do it within the lockout. But it's kind of insane. If you die on it, you die on it. Yeah, if extreme, especially, there's an enrage counter. There's an enrage for it. I have not yet done the new raid. Okay, so there's another person. I have not done the new raids. The telegraphs in DawnTrail are actually quite good. The last time I had a non-standard telegraph would have been something optional in AR dungeon. Overlapping mechanics in normal fights have been a thing since at least Stormblood. I reminded of a philosophy from the training of the surgeons. See one, do one, teach one. Seeing a mechanic play out once, do the mechanic once yourself, teach the mechanic to someone else once, or be prepared to anyway. This approach has carried me through DawnTrail just fine. Not getting a mechanic correct on the first try is fine. Yes, that is completely fine. If you first time seeing a mechanic, and if you're casual and you don't know how to react to it, it is okay to wipe to it. If you learn it, you learn at your own pace. It makes no sense why you would complain about like dying in a raid. Like, you got to get used to the mechanics. I can tell you this right now. I will die over and over in Ultimate Savage, and it'll take me a while to beat my head against the wall before we even get the mechanic done. Hell, I was still, even I saw the mechanic once from last night when we were redoing, re-clearing for people. I was still dying to shit. Not one, like one time wasn't enough for me, and I'm considered a hardcore player. So the fact that like I was still dying, this means it applies to me too. It just, you got to keep seeing the mechanic to understand how the mechanic works. Wasn't it Yoshi P once saying he was falling asleep in his dungeon runs? I thought the whole point of these threads was to make MSQ easier, optional content harder, side dungeons and raid trials. Most of DawnTrail content is fine. People are not used to the basics of FF14 and most importantly, watching the cast bar. Besides some gimmicks gotcha, like breaking down the platforms, which kill you not once but twice, I don't see anything that might be too hard for anyone to actually pay attention to what's happening. Most of the mechanics can be done by following someone if they're having a hard time. It is the first day of release as well. I don't get why people are so entitled to clear content day one. Again, another good take. Another good take. It makes no sense why you go, especially if you're queuing, if you're not going with a group of friends, even your group of friends, if they're going in the first time, are gonna die. God damn. Another base guy. Before anyone comes accusing me of being an elitist savage raider, feel free to check my logs. Logs. They are not impressive, but apparently the ability to hit your buttons in more or less correct order is beyond the bar for casual. Yeah, no, it's true. I struggled in Endwalker, so to me, DawnTrail is unplayable. So DawnTrails to me is unplayable. It is not the lack for trying. I promise you, I study videos. I give it my all. I am so sick of people saying we're struggling because we're not trying. I get sick of the rude attitude people are giving. This is not the community I've grown to love. These people do not care about anyone's experience but their own. I am currently not playing due to frustration and stuck on a dungeon. I log into my beast tribes, go play Guild Wars 2, but I'm seriously considering it might be my time to actually quit the game. Okay, that argument does not make sense. The argument does not make sense if you are publicly putting out here that, oh, stuff is too easy, shit is too easy. That gives the people the right to say something. That gives the people the right to say something. And if you're struggling with a dungeon, or just go into the duty finder, like literally just go into the duty roulette, and if you die, the other people will just probably just carry you through. You should not be, if you're stuck on a dungeon, you must be using trust. If you're stuck on a dungeon, you're using trust. You should be queuing into it, and if you die, you die. But those three other people, if it's the first time or if they're just running it to level their classes, you do not have to worry about people being upset if you're dying a lot. So it just seems like you're making an excuse not to play. So we're just perfectly clear on what I'm asking for is to return to the same difficulty as Shadowbringers, Stormblood, and Walker when it comes to normal dungeons, trials, and raids. And all the people giving me tips on how to play, thank you very much, but I've been playing for 6 years, and I might not be a 1.0 player, but I know that playing the game, I know how to play the game, and I stand by what I wrote when I wrote the OP. There is a clear jump in difficulty in normal content compared to the last 3 expansions. If you don't know, congratulations on being a big dick player, I guess. If you've been playing since Stormblood, like, I'm not a 1.0 player. I started in Shadowbringers. That isn't, like, if you are complaining about not being able to do the normal raids, you do not know how to play the game. That is just you complaining that you don't know what you're doing, and then you're masking it behind, oh, look, Stormblood was harder on release. Yes, it was. I don't even play Stormblood. Everyone told me Stormblood was a shitty. Like, the Stormblood normals were awful in Duty Finder from what all my friends who played Stormblood played Stormblood said. It makes no sense. Like, the trials were, the normal raids were harder in Stormblood. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, the difficulty in Stormblood was higher than the ones now from what everyone is saying. Yeah, oh yeah, no, the Stormblood raid tier is amazing. The Stormblood raid tier is amazing. All those iconic X-Death, Kefka, the fact that they weren't in top is a crime. they should have been in top. That's an actual crime. But the fact that you are complaining about the difficulty of normals and then you said bring it back to the Stormblood level, that doesn't make any goddamn sense. That makes zero sense. So saying that you've been playing since Stormblood and then saying you're not a big, like, oh, you got to be a 1.0 player to be a big player makes no goddamn sense. Because I started in 2019. A lot of us started during COVID, so it makes no goddamn sense. They don't like new mechanics. They're changing up the mechanics. We saw the taste of new mechanics. The tethers were completely new and it freaked everybody out. That was the test run with new mechanics, and they said they were going to up it and try different mechanical ideas. Second fight, as much as I hate the bee, because I'm tired of seeing all the simping for the bee, because I simp for Wicked Thunder. I'm tired, other than all the random simping I see for the bee. I mean, I got hit by the hearts. I got hit by hearts a lot of the times. You're perfectly fine with asking to do... the problem is that the high amount would like the difficulty to return to, from ARR. Okay, I don't even know. This is a serious case. Oh my god, this is a serious case of get good. I've been you've been playing for 100 levels now. These raids are optional content and not even too hard for Duty Finder by any means. This is beyond ridiculous to me that you can't even get this content 24 hours before dunking on it for being too difficult when people are still learning the mechanics. Not to mention that this content is going to be much easier as gear scales in a month. Wow. I mean, leave it to 14 players who will complain and say shit like, oh, well, I just can't, like, oh, it just hasn't been out for 24 hours. This is too difficult. This is too difficult. Why? Just give it a week. At least give it a week. Please give it a week. I feel like this player complain. No, I feel like, you know what I feel like? If this player is complaining and making this much of a fuss about difficulty of normal raids, please give me your life. Please, I would love your life. I would love your life, because if it has that less of problems to where you're complaining about normal Duty Finder roulette for normal raids, please give me your life. Please give me your life. I would like the non-issues whatsoever. Please give it to me. I am begging. They wanted a nerf coil too. I generally do. Yeah, see, right here. I generally do not understand how you even get stuck in a dungeon. Even if you die every 2 mechs, a mid-core Duty Finder PT can easily carry you through any dungeon. True, I just said that. I literally just said that. I straight up just said that. I don't run with players. Oh my god, I fucking predicted this. Oh my goddamn, oh my fucking god. I straight up predicted this. Oh my lord, I predicted this. She runs with trusts. She runs with trusts. Oh my god. Oh, that is exactly the problem. Oh my god. I don't run with players. I have anxiety. You cannot play this game solo. I can't believe I called that. Easy. Because the only way you're stuck on a dungeon is because if you're using the trust, and she's using the trust. Oh my lord. Of course. Of course. That doesn't make any sense. If you don't like what's pretty out the rest of the comment. If you don't like the content and prefer social experience outside of the story, the game is not forcing you to do so. If you do not like raiding, the gears provided should not be important to you anyway. This content is going to be easier when gear levels outscale in a month. This isn't an attempt to tell you that your feelings are invalid, but it's also a hard case of small minority expecting the developers to pander to them constantly while ruining the fun for everyone else. A game for everyone is not a game for nobody. And that's where you're wrong. Everyone keeps saying this, but it's just the opposite. I don't want them to change. I don't want them to change it to make it easier. I want everyone to have what they want. It's just an option for people like me not to force it on you. But everyone else who don't want it easier, don't want to give us who is struggling an option. I don't run optional content. I only run MSQ. I want to be able to get through the story because I like the story. First time in almost 6 years I contemplated quitting the game. Okay, ma'am, I'm gonna tell you this right now. Your bio comment for when you post is, come on. I never let my sub drop for almost 6 years. I pay for all retainers and companion app, but DawnTrail is just too hard and frustrating. Oh my god. Jeez, gonna be direct and you won't like it, but you need to hear it. It's not hard. You're just not good enough. Oh damn, you're just not good enough. Is that harsh? Yes. But normal raids still have nothing on Savage or Ultimates. Once you are familiar with the mechanics, it will be very straightforward. The combat designers are finally getting to be adventurous and trying new things that haven't been existed before. In return, we're getting threads like this where you're upset because it's too difficult. If you really dislike that things feel difficult, come back later with more gear and then try them. I promise you, more people will be grateful for the difficulty and be very happy with the direction. Got him. If you've been playing since Stormblood, Shinryu, Tsukiyomi, and the Warrior Life were tough. Were all as tough. Yes, especially I did not clear Tsukiyomi Extreme until Endwalker, and I tried doing that trial multiple times. And when I was baby, and I was like, oh yeah, I just cleared Uwu because I fucking brute forced it. But Tsukiyomi, I did not clear for a really... Actually, no, Lana, didn't I just clear Tsukiyomi the other day when we were doing it? Like, we did Tsukiyomi hard, and I think I just cleared it the other day. Yeah, I just cleared that, like... I cleared that before expansion dropped. That hard... I never went back to that fight. I went through the MSQ for it, got carried... Tried keep going for the extreme, went for the hard mode, I went for the extreme. I just kept trying brute force it just to try to clear it. Couldn't clear it. And the Warrior of Light was infinitely more hard than that. I died in that when we were doing the normal trial of Warrior of Light. I haven't done it in so long. I fucking was dying all over the place. So saying that, and the fact that like I think the Warrior Light trial, it was blind is harder than these normal raids. Insane, right? Controversial even. I literally imagine this okay, so we're all as tough, if not harder than these raids. It seems to getting past you seem to getting past those just fine. If your anxiety is so bad you cannot get any handle getting stuck in a video game, go read a book or something. Ooh, damn, I don't have sympathy anymore. Damn. Go read a book. That's her being nice saying go touch grass. Don't have sympathy for anyone. People have offered solutions, have offered to help, and to have literally posted videos how to do the content. It's not enough. It's never enough. True. Imagine this conversation and literally that was for the game. I'm demanding racing games to be slower because I get motion sickness when I move too fast on the screen. We all need to dumb down the competitive fighting games. I have arthritis and I can't comfortably hold the controller. Oh my god. This is it's not just ask for an easy mode. You're asking for double the workload to accommodate a minority in a way that makes the game so boring that developers themselves complain about falling asleep playing it. It is detrimental to the game and the community. W comment. I think I realized where I went wrong. I thought this was a thread on MSQ dungeons. I didn't realize it was about raids. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my lord. She can't read either. Oh my god. She can't do MSQ dungeons. She can't read. Sounds like a kind of girl I want in my life. That's a meme form. Yeah, it has to be fake. It has to be fake. That comment cannot be. It has to be fake. Okay, I have social anxiety disorder as well, and so I understand that. But I know it's hard to shake the mentality that you become a burden to other people and fail. I experienced that too. We all experience that. And I was like that when I started playing the game too. I watch a video of every single duty to make sure I know the fight well enough. I still feel like that sometimes. I completed multiple ultimates and I still cannot bring myself to join a PF even for an extreme trials due to anxiety. But I can assure you that almost anyone would care much if you wouldn't care as much if you died in a dungeon. I was I was in a PT, wiped 6 times at the final boss at a level 95 dungeon because the healer could not do mechanics properly, and the fight was carryable by a tank. I ended up giving advice to the healer. They went and they got through it, and it was all good. Exactly. I think when Zeri and Dazzle and I were running that Alexandria, I was dying. The healer was dying. I was causing multiple wipes. That was an expert. That was an expert in roulette. So it doesn't make any sort of sense why oh my god. Oh my lord. Oh my lord. Yeah, and I have severe social anxiety. When I went to FanFest, unless I was like really drunk, I barely spoke to people. Like if I felt like my anxiety would spike, and I would just. But I understand the social anxiety point, especially when it's in an area you are not comfortable with. But at the same time, complaining about it and then just only using trust, you're having an issue there because you're using trust and you're dying. So you're stuck on a dungeon. Yeah, no. If you're an ultimate raider or you're a savage, or especially like, how do I say it? If you're a savage, if you're clearing the last fight on savage, or you're an ultimate raider, you get, especially when you hit that last phase, you get the shakes. And especially if it's like the second to last or last mechanic, you get the shakes. Doesn't matter who you are, the shakes always come back. They always come because you've been to that. You're like, this is the pull, this is the clear. I'm finally almost there. If this part goes extremely well, it's a clear. You get the shakes. Someone dies. B girl can get pretty nuts with the hearts flying everywhere. I promise you that. I read that as something. I read that as B girl could something pretty nuts. I was just like, what the fuck? It's gotten ready to get to this point. Not at all vocal minority, and being this dismissive for a general complaints people have over a half a decade is so painfully disingenuous that I don't even know where to begin. All that has happened with content in DawnTrail is that is designed for the expectation for people to know, designed with the expectation that people will know the basic underlining game mechanics that veteran players have been more exposed to. It's a wake-up call to actually learn underlining mechanics for a combat system rather than coasting on by like people have been doing for years. Yet all everyone does is complain about the insanely easy mechanics that could have been easily resolved if they actually bothered even to learn what a snapshot is, or weren't allergic to stepping into the animation of the AoE because they fail to understand that the animation and the VX are safe no matter so long as the marker is gone, and as you resolve the mechanic. What we're witnessing is not hardcore casuals. It's changing the game, but rather a gross, widespread lack of basic, formerly common game logic and knowledge that bred into the player base based from the utter lack of lackluster content was in late Stormblood. And the whole, both Shadowbringers and Endwalker learn how to actually play the game you all claim to love and accept that you have to learn a fight to clear it. Got him. I mean, yeah, we see this argument a lot. I see this argument a lot when it comes to content. Like, how many people do you guys know who just don't do content whatsoever? How many people do you know who just don't do content in the game whatsoever? If you claim to love the game, you would learn to understand it. If you love the game, everyone plays at their own pace. Alex 12 took me 12 attempts, 12 attempts day one, because people back then actually had to learn the content to clear, had to follow. You have a point, sister. Thank you. No, it makes sense. Like, it makes zero sense why you want to, you complain about the game being easy and not engaging, but then when there's engaging content, you complain. Like, you're not doing Savage, you're not doing Ultimate. Like, if you don't want to do that high tier content, you don't have to do it. It's optional. It's all optional. Like, I do it because I want to do it. I love doing Ultimate. I'm going to say this. I'm an all compass of a lot of the aspects of this game. I do hardcore content. I'm a DJ in game, and I play the MSQ. The only thing I really don't do is PvP, because I don't like the PvP in this game. If I don't like it, I don't do it. I don't like I don't like PvP in this game. But the fact that I am an all-compass round player that does a lot of stuff in game, especially like a lot of the RP and social aspects, and the fact that I do harder content shows that, and I always say this, it shows that if I can do it, anyone can do it. Anyone can literally do the hard, if I can, I'm dog shit, but anyone could do the content in this game if you apply yourself to it. Isn't this exactly what you're doing? People seem to love this raid tier, but you're asking for nerfs to optional content because it's ruining your experience. That community you know and love has been asking for more difficult content for years and have been consistently told to go play Ultimate if they want difficult by people who are incredibly rude attitudes. But now it affects you, and you are not being the one catered to. For once, the sky is falling, and it's everyone else's problem. It just feels entitlement to me. Facts.